Hello, everyone. Welcome along, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to RPL Recap once again. And we're going to go through this latest week of racing in RPL and recap things with week 20. Ryan Searle's Faded Knights. 15, your two pundits for this one. Mally 41 became the fourth different Tier 3 champion. Leo Lund and Skither lost out on the Abu Dhabi victory in RPL F1. And Night Owl, pending the Stewards report, now has the most points in a single Tier 2 season by a driver. But we start off today talking about JTK getting pole number 1 in Abu Dhabi and potentially win number 1, pending whatever happens in the Stewards room. The question does beg itself for the next F1 game and the next F1 season in RPL, who will be the next maiden pole sitter and maiden winner? Faded, your thoughts?
I definitely think somebody in Tier 3 could be the next person to do it.
No, Tier 1.
Tier
Tier 1.
Oh, Tier 1. Oh. Well, I think it still could be somebody from the Ferrari Academy. You've seen
Alex Norris.
Yeah, Alex Norris could be that guy to do it as well. But a couple of our reserves can do it as well. We've seen Tiro show pretty good pace. I think Tiro could be the underdog that could emerge in the shadows.
Some of the things that I think people have to remember here is who are the drivers that have not won races in RPL Tier 1. Red Fire, Minico, Willow, Knights, Alex Norris, Danny, KVS, and George. And honestly, if I'm going to have to go with anybody specific after what JTK did, you're going to probably have to look at it from somebody going in a top car again like JTK did. And that's probably what it's going to take. Look at Florian getting the chance in Mercedes. He won already, but that was his first win last season in Imola. Egg got his first win in Red Bull. So those are the things that it is going to take. For me, it's really a toss-up between George and KVS. I think George has a really good chance to get his first win. The problem is he going to have the lightning speed that he had at times during 24 in F1 25? And for KVS, he's in a V-carb. Not the best of cars, of course, but it is improving. And the big thing for him is he going to get that Red Bull opportunity and have the same pace he did on 23 in 25? And I say 23 because 25 might be similar to 23, and if that is the case, well, that could help him. And Alex Norris, you mentioned, Faded, someone from the Ferrari Academy. Honestly, he's someone a lot of people will be looking at in terms of drivers to potentially get their first win, especially with the pace improvement from him. It's been electric, must be said.
Yeah, it definitely has. And who else has been electric in the world of RPL is Beatnik. He just won his first race returning to RPL. He won Tier 2 Saturday as a reserve, and as it being his first win on this game cycle and third win in the tier, is the ceiling rising for Beatnik right now?
Well, I think this definitely shows one thing we already knew, and that is when Mercedes chose him to be the teammate of Mintoki on F1 25, there was definitely some questions, but I think as time went on, this proved itself to be the right move. Polo God had an abysmal season and definitely had a stinker similar to how he did in his Ferrari campaign. His McLaren campaign seemed to be a one-off as well, though, too. So they needed a new replacement and someone who could fill the shoes a little bit better, and Beatnik was the guy. Beatnik started off F1 24, if you remember, in Tier 3 and got a chance in the Red Bull and almost got a podium on his return back, but it was a slow start for him, and then it got better and better and better. And it goes to show you, if you take a step out of playing the game for a very long time and come back to it, you still can do well, but the improvement is going to take a while. And this win was on loan as well. This was a reserve win. I can't remember the last time someone as a reserve won in this tier, but it definitely was an impressive win. a driver who didn't even pick up any track limit warnings in that race as well. It was definitely hard earned for sure.
Yeah,
And nice to see.
was.
What did you think on it?
I definitely think it was a career resurgence for Beatnik. He's been in talks as to whether he has the potential to win these races anymore. He was doubting himself, and now the doubt has vanished, and he has become the Beatnik we all wanted to see.
I think the thing for Beatnik as well, though, too, is that I think with the way next game is, and this is only based on the beta so far, I think he does kind of put himself in the shoes of maybe being a title contender as well. It's an early ask, but you know what? It's not something to doubt based on 2025 being similar to 23 and what people say so far. Our next topic is about the team he was racing for this last season, Beatnik. He was racing for Red Bull, and they just won the Tier 2 and 3 Constructors title. The question now begs itself for the next season in Tier 3, even Tier 2, but mainly Tier 3 we're going to talk about here for this aspect for Red Bull. Are they the title favorite? Remember, their lineup is filled with Devin and AJ. Devin, a race winner, AJ, a race winner. Both have won races multiple times. So that does beg the question, do Red Bull have the Tier 3, the best lineup in Tier 3 to win a 4th Constructors title?
Now, I do think that they are the odds-on favorite to win that Tier 3 Constructors title. You look at Ferrari's Tier 3 lineup with RPL and yourself, Ryan.
Yeah.
That's a weak lineup. That is
sadly
very weak in my eyes. With the McLaren and Mercedes pair, I don't think it's gonna match what the Red Bull guys have.
Now, I mean, McLaren have the car though.
They have
that's
the
their
car.
only upside. That's their only upside.
They have the car. They don't have veteran experience.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I agree.
No. If we're gonna have a recap, we're gonna have civil discussion.
I agree. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just I look at McLaren with Timbed and Polish, and I know Polish won Abu Dhabi, but does Timbed have the outright pace for them to have the constructors? The thing I see with Red Bull is proven race winners here, proven pole sitters, and also the fact of the matter is you're going to have the argument of, are these guys too fast for the tier? It's similar to a lineup we'll be talking about a lot this offseason with Reese and Night Owl, since you brought up Ferrari a bit ago. This lineup, they're going to win another championship with this, and I'm not complaining about it. It's just the hardcore truth. And you're right, Faded. Although Red Bull might not have the car, they have the drivers. It's just like, it's basically putting 2 Maxes in that car. You could just outperform that car.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I gotta give him credit.
Yeah, for sure.
You were saying?
Now we go into a brand new topic. We're gonna rate some things 1 through 10.
Yes.
First off, Polish earned his first win in Abu Dhabi. Ryan, out of 10, how much weight does this take off Polish's shoulders?
Honestly, in my eyes, I think I would probably have to give this a 7, because, and there's another topic we'll be talking about in a few moments' time, but I think I'd give this a 7, and simply because of that first win was definitely crucial. He's had podiums before. It didn't make much of a difference in the past, but I think a win does definitely take more off of his shoulders now compared to getting that second podium that he had in China. This race, he just had the outright pace, and he was probably going to finish second or third if it weren't for that last safety car. Polish drove hard and did what he deserved to do. He deserved to finally break through and win that race, and he finally had his moment in the sun, as some people would say. So yeah, definitely a hard-fought, hard-earned win for Polish. I mean, Faded, he probably was going to be selling for second or third, and he said his heart was racing. He's lucky he didn't have a freaking panic attack, he said.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been an emotional person as in terms of his, on-track emotions, but if I had to rate it personally, I'd say it's a 6. He has a lot of weight going into next season, and I feel like if he wants to keep that momentum going, he's gonna have to keep the same results going.
I think with you saying about Ferrari having the weak lineup, it does suck that he does not retain his Ferrari spot, but it's good to have him have a send-off like that with Ferrari. And for Polish to be in the McLaren and now the fastest car after a win like that, he's just been trying so hard, and he didn't exceed the expectations prior, but now he finally broke through with that win. So yeah, well-deserved right there. Now, speaking of the Ferrari Academy for a little bit longer here, after the Tier 1 season is over on F125, Invade is going to have to give up his TP role at Ferrari. This is what he learned after the race on Saturday. Now, he can keep the TP under one circumstance. No one is willing to take that spot. Faded, out of 10, how likely is it that Alex Norris, the co-TP replacing Minico, how likely is it that Alex is the favorite for that spot?
Solid 8. Solid 8. And I'll say that Alex is probably the smartest guy to take that spot. Is he the most likable guy to take that spot? Not exactly. Well, Alex has the expertise behind it. Of course, he works for an F1 team. He's got the experience behind himself to be a good team principal at Ferrari. I just don't think he's backed by a lot of people to where he can be that leader.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have to give him an 8.
Kinda leaking personal information now. Faded. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure Alex won't mind to hear that though. Put out there. I mean, good for him, by the way. On that aspect, for those that know. I know. I'm just saying. Hey, might find a way to get fired from Ferrari then. No, in all honesty, I'm gonna give this an 8 or a 9. No, I'm gonna give this an 8 or a 9, and I actually do think he's the favorite for that spot. I think he's more likable than someone like myself or Skither, the two assistants, to take it, or someone as an outsider to take it. I think for Alex Norris, he's got everything anyone from the admin team would be wanting in a TP. He's very relaxed. He's a very calm guy. He doesn't put himself in controversial situations unless he needs to. I think the only controversial situations Alex has had in RPL yet has been tier placement, which is out of his control, and then the whole cryptic incident in Vegas. So for Alex Norris here, yes, I think he's the odds-on favorite, and yes, I actually do think he has a very likely chance of taking this when the time does come. I mean, do you have any other reason as to why you think he would be the favorite though, Faded?
Well, I think he's the favorite in Wade's eyes. In my eyes, I just don't think he's odds-on favorite. I think he's like second in line, maybe.
At least second in line is, I think, fair enough to say, at least that at that point.
Yeah.
So, time for the big finish, folks. In Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia, our races this past weekend, it was McLaren/Alpine Academy's final race as an academy member. They are joining the Mercedes bunch while the Aston Martin pair bunch is over with Red Bull. They have definitely done a lot as an academy together, especially back when they were under the Renault engines. McLaren were Faded. It does suck to see them go, but they'll also be joining Mercedes Academy next season. So of course they're not gone from our grid, but at the same time, Faded, it is definitely nice to have that goodbye video we put on YouTube and everything to honor them as an academy.
Right, and it was a good video. Yeah, it's sad to see them go, but now they're with the Mercedes guys, and they have a lot of fast people in there that could definitely educate some slower guys and maybe help them out. With that being said, Maui is considering banning full traction for Tier 3.
He said because of the beta that it seems easy for next game, a little too easy for full traction. I think the problem here with what a lot of people do not like who run off traction and barely any assists, a lot of people don't like how these guys, and I'll use Polish Hammer as one of the examples, some of the drivers who run a lot of assists, even Night Owl runs ABS and line only, how they're able to keep up with a lot of our faster drivers with more assist on. So we'll see if anything does change in between now and then, but Mally41 is saying it's 90% likely that this will be the case, and you'll probably see a lot of people go from this, and I would not like to see that happen. Speaking of sad news and people going, this is not what we would want to announce after Abu Dhabi Tier 3, but Maddie, who got a points finish in Singapore the week prior for Sauber, got another one for Haas in Abu Dhabi, but he had to pause mid-race because of his dog, and now has to say goodbye to his dog. Faded. I think this finish that he got in Abu Dhabi, another points finish for him on the season, definitely maybe a race he could honor his dog in, at least in that sense. Pets are definitely special to a lot of people, and I'm sure this was special to Maddie to be able to get in the points at the end of the season for it.
Yeah, and I can feel for Maddie. I lost my dog at a very young age. It's just tough to let pets go, and yeah, the finish was big for him, and he was able to honor him in a good way. And heck yeah. Netsky, in that race, he crashed in the final corner, but managed to go reverse and make it to the pit lane. Was this dangerous, or was this a sneaky move for Netsky?
I think it was a bit of both. I mean, he was racing in the wrong car because he didn't select a car when ready up. I think the problem is when people join the lobby last moment, I think the host is easy to try to get people going and try to start on time, which is fair, but it got Netsky in the wrong car, and Mally wasn't going to do anything about it, but it definitely didn't matter in the end anyway. Invade didn't have the best final race in Tier 3. This was his departure race in Tier 3 in Abu Dhabi. He had a controller disconnect and DNF from this. He hit Leon the first time and didn't go out of the race. The second time, he was on his own and went out of the race. This is not the way he would have wanted to end his Tier 3 time. 4 seasons there, many wins, in contention for 2 championships. He's going to get a big penalty for this, Faded, and you know what? You're in control of your own equipment, as they say.
My opinion, get a new controller. Just
He's going to try. He said he's broke, though.
Well, I could fund it. Make it happen.
There you go.
So Josh 433 won on track in Tier 2 Jeddah, but lost it due to track limit penalties. Because of that, him and Blonde returned to the Tier 2 podium for the first time in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I know Night Owl, Reese, and Penguin kind of fumbled the strategy. I mean, in all fairness, 2 of those 3 started on hards, but this goes to show Josh, regardless of the penalty, though, a little rusty still, but that return that he had was definitely a wonderful one despite the penalty. An on-track win. Even Blonde. Blonde's been loaned out quite a few times these last few weeks, and he got back on the podium. Both these guys won races that season 2 seasons ago. So again, a nice sight in that aspect. Also a nice sight if you're Haas right here. Jackster gave Haas their only point and their first point of the Tier 2 season. Haas were pointless back in Season 3 of Tier 2. This does not happen again, luckily. And Jackster finished 11th in a prior time this season as well. Josh finished P11 for them before this season, and Isha did as well. So Jackster, safe to say, hard-earned points finish here?
Yeah, definitely indeed. It was hard-earned, and yeah, brilliant stuff from Jackster. But what isn't brilliant is the F1 lobby in Abu Dhabi restarted twice, and the initial reason was a grid penalty between Kripnik and Beatnik.
Yeah, it was a collision right there. I know it's going to be a little bit controversial with people getting grid pens and then there still being a restart after. Look, I mean, the game is definitely still harsh on it, but I still think if we're going to restart lobby due to any incident-related things in quali, like Leo Lund and Jack in Australia, and then this, I think the one thing that has to continue for next game is these incidents have to automatically be sent to the storage room regardless of the outcome. And that's a shame to say, but it's happened a lot. And it's fair that it's a restart, but still not good there. Maxwell and Knight's teammates in Ferrari Academy, Haas and Sauber drivers, did donuts to end off in Abu Dhabi. Both were running last to finish. I don't think they'll get in trouble for it. But this was Maxwell's last Tier 1 race for a while. He'll be going to Tier 2 Faded. A nice way to end off.
Yeah, definitely. If you're running in last and, want to set it off in style, why not do some donuts? It's a perfect way to end it. With that being said, Jack Miles, he got a front row in Abu Dhabi, but became the first F1 champion without a pole position.
I'm trying to understand if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because you know what? It goes to show we had a tier 1 champion who had straight up raw pace. I know Luke Range has 25 poles to his name in F1 and 43 wins, so there's definitely an outlier there on that aspect. But yeah, Jack Miles, for this car being the fastest car, not having a pole to his name, that's a bit surprising. I mean, it does go to show in tier 1 we have a lot of qualifying merchants. He finished second qualifying to Gecko in Portimao, TB in Hungary, and then JTK in Abu Dhabi. So, yeah, I mean, TB's not a qualifying merchant, but fair play for Jack to get that. He usually never gets a pole anyway. And if he does, it's only once a season. Speaking of drivers, in terms of quality merchants, Tiro he definitely had a lot of qualifying pace this weekend and one lap pace, but he crashed into the pit wall, ending his race early. I saw the clip, and I'm not going to say it's intentional. I don't think it is. But what we do know is this ended his race for a second week running. He DNF'd 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, Zero's bad luck that nobody wants to see, and yeah, just needs to sort of ask the gods to revert the spell on him. The Mercedes Discord, an interesting server profile picture that I cannot discuss because of YouTube guidelines. Nothing can be done about it.
Yeah, nothing can be done. Jack Miles already clarified outside of the server. However, I'm very surprised they at least didn't get a talking to about it, though, because that is still RPL related. So, yeah, I mean, fair play, Mercedes Academy. I got to give you a lot of credit for going around the loopholes right here. You know, Red Bull already said they're trying to make themselves the villain here, and I mean they've made it clear in their own aspects behind the scenes. Mercedes is just doing it one step further and one step into the ground in that aspect. Either way, we have F125 folks coming out on May 27th, May 30th for this regular edition. But in the meantime, Faded, we've got some off-season races, some fun races to go with it. We're gonna have a 5-race mini season, from what the tier coordinators have been saying, until we get to the next game, which is nice to kill the time and all. And we're voting on tracks, as far as I've noticed, Imola, Las Vegas, Miami for each weekend. Jack Miles also said he's going to do some mini races again throughout the week. We shall see what happens with this, but are you ready for F125 to come out? I know a lot of drivers are.
Oh yes, I am. Just waiting on pre-order, having enough money to do that.
There you go. We shall see what happens. In the meantime, folks, enjoy the off-season races, enjoy the fun races, and hopefully we'll keep you updated on how things end up to be in these off-season races. Hopefully get some streams for them as well. Only time will tell. Until next time, folks, Ryan Searles, Faded Nights 15, we are signing off. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. And until next time, goodbye and good night.